Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Redevelopment Agency meeting of June 1st, 2011 is called to order. Pardon my voice, I have a little cold, actually, which is amazing. This meeting has been properly noticed and posted in compliance with the open meeting law. These proceedings are being presented live on KCLV Cable Channel 2 and are closed captioned for our hearing impaired viewers. The Redevelopment Agency meeting, as well as all other KCLV programming, can be viewed on the city's website at www.kclv.tv. The proceedings will be rebroadcast on KCLV Channel 2 and the web the Wednesday of the meeting at 8 p.m. and also on Friday at 4 a.m., Saturday at 7 p.m., Sunday at 7 a.m., and the following Monday at 1 p.m. We always make a cautionary announcement that this building is protected by a state-of-the-art fire detection and suppression sprinkler system. So should alarms activate, please leave through the exits. Our marshal will tell you when it's safe to re-enter. As I say, this is just a cautionary admonition. No reason to believe that this would ever take place. We'll now call item number 3, approval of the final minutes by reference of the regular Redevelopment Agency meeting of April 20th, 2011, and the special joint City Council Redevelopment Agency meeting of May 17th, 2011. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, Your Honor. No additions or deletions. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, please.
Very good. Let's vote on that, please. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 4, discussion and possible action regarding the First Amendment to First Amended and Restated Owner Participation Agreement between the City of Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency and the affiliates of World Market Center, LLC, located at 495 South Grand Central Parkway, concerning retail furniture sales. This is in Ward 5. Mr. Arndt.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. For the record, Bill Arndt, Director, Economic and Urban Development. This item is actually amending our agreement with World Market Center, which is now doing business as International Market Center. And it is amending the First Amendment, and that is why it reads the First Amendment to the First Amended. It's amending the amendment that we passed in July of 2004. There's an issue that's come up in the operations of the Furniture Mart, and it's an issue of competition. There are other competing furniture marts in other cities such as Atlanta and Dallas, and they operate in a way that allows the vendor companies that are participating in the mart to sell their showroom supplies and basically clear those supplies as new inventory comes into the center. And currently our agreement with World Market Center has really a competitive disadvantage with those other markets. Currently they're limited to selling those showroom supplies for 2 consecutive days within a 14-day period after a show. And this amendment will allow World Market Center to liquidate unsold showroom samples to the public 30 days preceding a show and 14 days following a show, up to 6 times per year. So this is really leveling the playing field for the whole furniture mart, the whole campus, if you will, being able to compete with those other markets in those other cities. With me this morning is Jonathan Lelu, who is the General Counsel for International Market Center, so I'd like to invite him to the podium. He's been working very closely with our staff in crafting this amendment, and this amendment simply allows them to change how they sell those showroom supplies. I will mention, and Mr. Lelu can address, that he has reached out to the local furniture industry, and we're not aware of any concerns with any retailers in the area. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Lelu.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. John Lelu, 495 South Grand Central Parkway, Las Vegas, 89106. For the record, my last name spelled L-E-L-E-U.
Nice having you here. Would you like to be heard?
Certainly, Your Honor. As Mr. Arndt has said, the current iteration of the First Amended and Restated Owner Participation Agreement places World Market Center at a competitive disadvantage with the market centers that exist all over the country, New York, Atlanta, and Dallas. Basically, as Mr. Arndt concisely iterated, the tenants that are in those markets are able to sell off their goods, their samples, following a show. Our tenants are not able to do that under the current iteration. What that creates is a situation where our tenants are forced to incur moving expenses twice when they come to do their shows here in Las Vegas. They must move it in and then move it out. Unless they participate in the sample sales, which are restricted to 2 days during the 2 weeks following a market. So basically, our sample sales are restricted to 4 days a year. When you're dealing with companies that exist and tenants that exist all over the world, it's a little arduous to have them consolidate their sample sales to 4 days during the year. We feel that the amendment is a good one in that it would place World Market Center into a good competitive place with respect to the other market centers, will allow our tenants to be free of that additional cost that they are now forced to incur of moving their stuff in and out. We urge the council to go ahead and pass the amendment. Thank you.
I appreciate that. My only question, Mr. Arndt, is have you talked to the other, there's sort of an implicit understanding with Walker Furniture, for instance, just as an example, that we were not going to do anything which would diminish their potential for success. Have you had a conversation with them about this yet?
I have not, but I have asked Mr. Lelu to reach out. He did communicate with Mr. Darrell Alterwitz both in writing and by phone, and Mr. Lelu.
What is their position?
Disclose that.
Their position is they have no position. When again, we've spoken with staff about this, and we were urged to reach out to the furniture industry in Las Vegas. We did that. I spoke with Mr. Alterwitz over the phone, explained to him what we were doing and why we were doing it, that we were not, in fact, trying to compete with their business, but rather trying to compete with the other market centers nationwide. He understood that and accepted that as truth. He asked me to place what we wanted to do in writing for him so he could take a look at it. I did that and wrote a letter to Mr. Alterwitz. I didn't hear back from Mr. Alterwitz for several weeks. A couple of weeks ago, he did leave me a voicemail message. I returned that voicemail message, but since that time, I've not heard anything.
So he hasn't responded to your written letter?
He is not.
All right, thank you. Because that's something that was of concern to me. Okay, are there any other questions or comments? Fine, then Councilman Barlow.
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, you just began the dialogue of the question that I was going to ask as far as what was the rationale behind your business model as it relates to what you're asking for now. Why wasn't that placed in the First Amendment, being that the other markets, whether it be Dallas or North Carolina, I believe, is South.
It's North Carolina. You were
North
correct.
Carolina.
Yes, High Point, North Carolina.
High Point, North Carolina.
Yes.
These models have been in place for many years. Why wasn't that in your First Amendment? Why didn't we structure your contract in that?
Councilman Barlow, with respect to the First Amendment, that was something that we would have liked to have done then when we originally brought all this before the City Council back in 2004. The furniture community, when we first hit the ground and started turning dirt and building our buildings, were very concerned with how World Market Center was going to place them in a competitive disadvantage for the Las Vegas furniture community. Accordingly, they wanted to make sure that World Market Center's business model was restricted to trade show and was not competing with them on the retail sales level. So the First Amendment amended and restated owner participation agreement was crafted in such a way to restrict World Market Center's business to trade show only. What wasn't thought of at the time was that the trade show business requires move in and move out. It just never occurred to anybody that that is actually a very significant aspect of the trade show business, is how much money is spent for logistics in getting the tenants moved in and moved out. Over time, it became very apparent from our tenants that this was an issue. Our tenants began telling us that it costs a lot of money to do business in Las Vegas. Well, that resonates, and we heard them, and which is why we're here today.
So, Bill, if I, just for a point of clarification, as far as 30 days preceding a show and 14 days after the show, you will be open to the public?
Our furniture manufacturers, tenants can sell samples to the public, yes.
So the public will have an opportunity to come in and purchase items within the trade center?
That is correct.
Okay.
Well, and Councilman, if I could add, and Mr. Layla may want to comment on this, the public end actually turns out to be not just households. There's actually somewhat, it seems like, of a cottage industry, if you will, where there are other resellers that are located throughout the valley that buy product, because furniture, obviously, it's a big purchase for a household, so there are a lot of vendors, to my understanding, that actually buy the product and then house it in their own shops throughout the valley. So there is somewhat of a resale industry in the valleys, but certainly it's open to the public as well.
That is correct, Councilman Barlow. That happens a lot. And in fact, Walker Furniture, our neighbor, has engaged in this activity as well, where they are purchasing product directly from our tenants and then reselling it in their showroom. And they're, from what I understand from Mr. Alterwitz, are realizing a certain amount of success from that. So there is an industry for resale in Las Vegas.
Okay. I'm pretty sure my wife and a lot of other ladies would enjoy knowing that they have more of an opportunity now to come inside of the World Market Center to pick some very creative and artistic items that they won't be able to get in the open market.
Well, I hope that you don't use that as a basis for denying the amendment, Councilman.
I was thinking about it. Mayor and Council, unless any other members of the council would like to share anything, I'm ready for a motion.
Councilman, before the motion, if I could indulge you, I just wanted Mr. Laley to state real briefly that the financial footing that the market is on now, given the recent restructuring. I know there's been some news, but this is an opportunity for Mr. Laley to share with the public what strong financial footing they're on moving forward.
Mr. Mayor and Councilman Barlow, I'm pleased to be standing before you today. A couple of months ago, we were in some financial trouble. We were in court. We had a receiver on the property, and there were some pretty nasty things going on in the press with respect to what our business was doing and what we were up to. I'm pleased to say that those days are behind us. I'm here before you today as a representative of a company called International Market Centers. International Market Centers is the owner of World Market Center, as well as 3 other trade show facilities in High Point, North Carolina. As you all probably remember, when we first came onto the scene back in the early part of the 2000s, we came onto the scene as a direct competitor to High Point, North Carolina. Those days are behind us. We are now in partnership with High Point, North Carolina. We've been recapitalized. Bain Capital and Oak Tree Capital are our principal investors in International Market Centers. They've purchased us as well as 3 other trade show facility companies in High Point, North Carolina. And we are looking forward to stronger, brighter days for the furniture trade show industry and the furniture industry as a whole. Things are going very well. World Market Center is not in financial trouble right now. The receiver is gone, and we're proceeding forward.
Ooh, I can greatly appreciate that, specifically in this economic time we're in right now, that your footing has been repositioned, and that we look forward to you being here for the long haul. Because there's a lot of great and exciting things taking place in the downtown community, and we most definitely want World Market to be a part of our continued success. Yeah.
Thank you, Councilman.
Mayor?
Your motion, please.
Okay. With that being said, I would like to move to follow staff's recommendation, subject to all conditions on this item. And good luck to you, and thank you so very much, Mr. Layla, for coming down.
Very
Thank
good.
you, Councilman.
Let's vote on that, please. Post. Motion carries. Thank you. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Item number 5 is a report and possible action regarding redevelopment and economic development projects currently under contract or negotiation, other projects proposed or under construction, within or near the redevelopment area and to provide an overview of programs and initiatives. This applies to wards 1, 3, and 5. Mr. Arndt.
Thank you. This is our quarterly review of projects. I'm going to thumb through very quickly some major projects that will look familiar to everyone, just showing the current status, walk you through some relatively new projects, and then close looking at the finances of the agency and how we're going to move forward. As you know, we've been working very actively with the new Las Vegas Zappos campus in downtown. And this is one of those issues where we have really a great problem on our hands. We have a company that is bursting at the seams. And so we're working on an amendment to be able to handle their growth both in the near term and the long term. And we're looking to take that amendment as early as the next council meeting to accommodate the growth. So we still do have our deal in place with Resort Gaming and with Zappos as tenant, but because they're growing so quickly, we have to move some of the pieces of the puzzle to accommodate that growth, and you'll see that at an upcoming council meeting. The Smith Center is going incredibly well. Construction is over 84% complete. It is on schedule for opening of March of next year. The third bullet here is particularly important and may seem a little bit counterintuitive. With 98% of project funding now in place, logical question would be, well, why isn't 100% of project funding in place? And like most major philanthropic projects, a shovel in the ground is worth a lot to a project to show what's moving forward. So if you look at both the capital as well as the operations of the project, it's well over a $400 million project. So the construction is completely funded, but they are still putting the final funding in place for the operations to ensure and endow the operations for a long period of time. And that mark, 98%, is actually incredibly successful for the Smith Center team on their fundraising to ensure that the building not only is built, but that the operations for the whole campus continue for a long time. The Children's Museum and the parking garage construction are well underway, and that is going to be in the same campus there at the Smith Center campus. Cleveland Clinic, we're working on packaging a development agreement to really carve out how Cleveland Clinic over time will develop a full medical campus adjacent to the Lou Rouveau Center for Brain Health, and it'll specify general terms and parameters for developing that campus. City Hall construction is about 70% complete. While we're due to move in March of next year, the construction is due to finish in January. There are about 250 construction workers on site daily. The Immigrations and Customs Enforcement Project, or ICE project, is one that we recently announced. Steve Biagiotti of SDA Inc. is developing this facility for the federal government, for their tenant. That is a rendering of the campus. It'll be on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Clark, immediately across the street from the federal courthouse. And construction is expected to start shortly after escrow closing, which is October of this year. World Market Center we talked about, and Mr. Lelu mentioned that we have some great news with the equity partners. I think equally important is we have the same management team in place. Whenever you undergo a corporate restructuring, it's important to have some continuity for operations. And the same management team, in addition to Mr. Lelu, Bob Marisich, the CEO and president, is still at the helm, and we look for great things to come from the International Market Center as they rebrand themselves and run operations together with some space in High Point, North Carolina. Nevada Health Centers is due to close next month, and we expect construction to start shortly thereafter. This is in Las Vegas Enterprise Park, near the intersection of Mount Moriah and Stella Lake, just west of Martin Luther King Boulevard, and we're excited about that project and look forward to its opening. Business Development Center, in partnership with the Urban Chamber of Commerce, we've been working on what we think is an incredible grant opportunity with the Economic Development Administration. They have a national competition through the I-6 green application, basically for technology transfer. How do you get energy companies to transfer that technology into commercial applications where you can have for-profit businesses employing people in the community? And there's $12 million available nationwide. We are competing as a state for $2 million of that $12 million, and are working on a partnership with NIREC, Nevada Institute for Renewable Energy Commercialization, as well as the CSN campus and the Urban Chamber of Commerce to house some of this incubator space for these green companies in the business center. We're also having some success with leasing. We're working on getting 3 tenants in the building now. One is due to close here shortly and move in within the next week or so. So we're really excited about things that are taking shape at the Business Development Center. There have been some newly opened downtown businesses, and we want to celebrate all our successes, and had a great success recently with Artifice in the Arts District, as well as Resnick's Grocery Store at the bottom of Soho Lofts, and just shows you the variety of businesses that we have moving into the downtown area. Also, we have the bar at the Arts Factory and Insert Coins. One of the things that have made this successful is taking a pro-business approach where we've actually waived the origination fee for specific liquor licenses, Tavern Limited and Urban Lounge licenses, to stimulate these new business openings. And while we lose out on the origination fee, we cover that within the first year and a half of operations for the continuation of their liquor license, not to mention the additional consumer spending in downtown. We're incorporating housing into our economic development strategy, and we've recently approved our annual HUD grant appropriation for the variety of services that we provide for our clients. One thing that we're going to be doing moving forward is, in order to integrate this into an economic development strategy, we're going to focus on 2 things. How is this impacting neighborhoods, but also how is it affecting the bottom line for employing people in the community? And for every federal grant dollar that we spend, we're going to track construction jobs so that we can really show the total impact, not just the impact to our clients, but really the fiscal and economic impact in the community. We have a downtown outreach program where our city manager, Betsy Fretwell, has joined me and the mayor on meeting with our major enterprises downtown. We've completed 5 visits to date. The most recent visits we met with were 2 of our gaming partners, both the Stratosphere as well as TLC Casino Enterprises, which is the holding company for both Binion's and the Four Queens. And we really get a vote of confidence that we do see some things in the gaming industry and hospitality turning the corner, and we're going to be working very closely with those 2 properties to make sure that they can continue and be successful. Finally, I wanted to end on a challenge, but also an opportunity. Declining valuation, as you know, is an issue throughout the valley. It impacts the bottom line for the city and our general fund with property tax. Likewise, it impacts the redevelopment agency's bottom line, since we are 100% funded through the redevelopment agency on property tax, new tax from new development, otherwise known as tax increment. So you see the three-year trends here, that the city 3-year decline was 32% between fiscal 9 and fiscal 12, the budget year we're entering, starting July 1, and redevelopment has actually took an even steeper decline. What this shows, I think, is that really the commercial property valuation decline is happening a little bit later than the residential, so we're now starting to feel the full effects of that. That is putting a constraint on our budget. As you see, it's dropped almost in half since 2009. One of the benefits, though, is we've been well managed fiscally. We've kept our credit rating as an agency, and we have enough money through our fund balance as well as through new projects to where we can balance our budget over the next 5 years, as was presented at the budget hearing. But this is an issue, and so it really focuses, well, what's the light at the end of the tunnel? What is the silver lining? Why are we continuing our redevelopment efforts? And it's really the long term. Redevelopment is a long-term proposition. Whenever you look at redevelopment agencies throughout the country, the reason that you're doing redevelopment is twofold. It's to stimulate business in your urban core, but the second reason is that you have a part of your tax base that is underperforming the region as a whole. And if you look back to where we started in 1986, our downtown tax base was underperforming the region as a whole. But if you look at the success that we've had since inception, and this is just a snapshot showing us in what I've labeled our peer group, North Las Vegas redevelopment and Henderson redevelopment, focusing on Las Vegas, even with the decline in the property valuation and the subsequent revenues that I just showed you on the previous slide, even with that decline, that 49-50% decline, still over the base year, through the activities of the redevelopment agency and the city, we've increased the base over 96%, almost double. So even with that decline, we've still doubled the tax base. So this is really meant to show you that we've weathered the storm. We still are growing the tax base long term. We are still committed to redevelopment, and you can see the comparable performance from the other active redevelopment agencies. There are some additional ones, some smaller ones, Mesquite and Boulder City, but just for the purposes of illustrating our performance and really the collective performance of the major redevelopment agencies in the Valley, I thought this was an interesting slide to show you that redevelopment is a long-term proposition. We still are growing the tax base. We've taken this hit because of the value drop, but we are positioned for long-term growth and positioned for success long-term. With that concludes my presentation. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Very good. Are there any comments or questions? Councilman Ross.
Thank you, Mayor. I want, Bill, as you went through that presentation, I want to mention to the council and the mayor and to our audience that it's significant to recognize that most of the construction happening in this valley is happening in the city of Las Vegas. And I think that's significant, despite the announcement of the new tower at McCarran International Airport. We have really focused our efforts and energy on job creation, on helping our small businesses grow, on increasing that tax base. And Bill, I want to say this, we're not out of the storm yet. I still think we're in the storm, but we've got to continue to pursue this effort that we've already started collectively as a city council in regards to redevelopment in the city of Las Vegas, because we're doing it. We're doing everything we need to be doing to make this city a success and get us out of this economy we're in and strengthen us for tomorrow, for that those long-term goals. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate everything that your team's been doing. Certainly city management and the staff and the collective support of this council in regards to our redevelopment agency. Just the small businesses alone and the business aspect of what we are doing as a council or a redevelopment agency is huge, and it's significant. World Market Center and their investment in downtown for years to come, and anybody else that's doing business in the city of Las Vegas, is very significant. We've got to continue to push, and push so we can be successful and get ourselves and create ourselves a new economy, not just get ourselves out of this one, but create a new economy so that we can continue to grow in the city of Las Vegas.
Thank you. Councilwoman.
Bill, first of all, this is very impressive, what has occurred, and I've been on the council long enough to see a lot of it, so I'm very, very pleased with what you've done. And certainly the difference in the different agencies shows the hard work and the focus that you've had. And in Ward 1, we're very interested in having some of this, as you know, and I'm wondering what's happening at the legislature. Are we okay?
Generally speaking, I'll speak just for redevelopment. We've been working very closely with the leadership, and I think we're looking to try to keep basically the momentum going, at least keep the status quo, and overall I think we're accomplishing that. We are still pursuing an expansion into some of our commercial neighborhoods. That's going to be part of an economic development investment strategy that we're working on together with the city manager's office to show how is this spending not just helping our urban core, but how is it affecting the neighborhoods that really are part of the urban core, that they feed directly into the urban core. They're adjacent to it. The commercial corridors like Charleston Boulevard, for instance. We're going to be unrolling that strategy this coming fiscal year. We're also going to be concluding our RDA expansion. We did get slowed up a little bit by the time and commitment that we needed to do for the legislature to make sure that the leadership at the legislature understood what we're doing with redevelopment, so that when we do finalize the expansion, everybody will be on board and understand it. So we are finishing that blight study now, and we have to hit the general plan amendment cycle. So likely fall of this year, we'll be back before the Planning Commission and then council for final hearing to show you that expansion. It's still just as we talked about over the past fiscal year, how we drill into those neighborhoods and how we can spend some money in these neighborhoods to prevent them from decline.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Mayor Goodman, real quickly.
Yes, Councilor Wilson.
Thank you. I think my colleagues, Bill, Councilman Ross, and Councilwoman Tarkanian, have said it well, just how pretty amazing it is that in this recession we're doing so well. So I don't need to repeat what they said, but I'd like to know at some future meeting how our RDA here in the city of Las Vegas does as compared to other RDAs in other similarly populated cities. Because the redevelopment agency is not a new concept. It's been around for a while. It's not unique to Southern Nevada. So I'd really be curious to look at how other cities that are similarly situated population-wise are doing as compared to our RDA. If you could do that in the future for us.
We'd be glad to.
Any other comments or questions? Councilor Barlow.
Yes, Mayor. Just to piggyback on Councilman Wolfson's comments as it relates to the RDA, that is some very good information if you can get back to us, Bill, because I've had an opportunity to travel around the U.S. and visit quite a few of the RDA areas, and nowhere but Las Vegas have I seen, and in particular Ward 5, have I seen such major development taking place within an RDA area, and so I would be hard-pressed to find another city that has as much activity as we do here in the city of Las Vegas. And also, I want to commend, if you will, Senator Horsford as well as Assemblywoman Marilyn Kirkpatrick for it, as well as Assemblywoman Dina Neal, for their due diligence at the state legislature, working with us as it relates to improving our redevelopment area as well. So I know that there's still a lot of bills moving around and language is changing, but at the same time, I do want to acknowledge them for their efforts in assisting the city of Las Vegas to improve how, in fact, we continue to do business and using our city as a model for other cities here within Nevada as well as nationally, because we have a lot of synergy taking place here, and I believe that, bar none, Las Vegas is most definitely the poster child when it comes to redevelopment. So I look forward to that information coming back as soon as you can get it back to us.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? My observation is that not only are we creating jobs, but these projects that we're talking about are legacy projects. They're game changers for the city. You start with Zappos coming down here. You've got the Ruvo Brain Institute, which puts us into a world-class medical level. You've got the Performing Arts Center, which will be with us forever and ever and last a lot longer than anybody in this room is going to last, that's for sure. So it's pretty extraordinary when you think of it, particularly when other places are not doing anything and the cranes aren't active and the people aren't out there making a living. So very proud of the council to be supportive of all these projects. Without their support, this could never have happened, even with all of your hard work. So with that, Mayor Pro Tem, can we have a motion, please?
Yes, Your Honor. First of all, I do have to make a couple comments also. When we talk about redevelopment agencies, I think a lot of those folks in the audience looking at us like, what are you talking about? We have created jobs, but being a representative of Ward 3, I dare say that people can ride down the streets and see what has happened in the older areas because of redevelopment. And I know I was a product of a redevelopment area. I've been in a location at Eastern Bonanza for approximately 48 years, and the landlord came in and redid, with the help of the redevelopment agency, redid the shopping center where I'm located. And I got to tell you, it's just like night and day. It went from an area that was downtrodden to something very, very beautiful. So we're talking about, to me, two different type businesses that are receiving the benefits from the RDA. And there's a lot of expansion that needs to be done, especially in Ward 1 and 3 and 5, other redevelopment agencies. So I just hope that the next council people that sit here and mine and the mayor's positions support what we tried to do, and that is enlarge the redevelopment agency so that everybody can see the benefits in the older areas of what the redevelopment agency has done. I know with your help and with, I don't see your compadre there today, but they've really done a lot making our redevelopment agency be a success. When I first was elected, I went down to San Diego and I looked at the Gaslight District and see what they tried to do. And I've always said, and I still maintain, our redevelopment agency never went in and really redeveloped anything. We had to start fresh because we didn't have these high rises and these apartment complexes and these office buildings that went out of business, so we could go in there and redevelop them. We built new, and like the mayor mentioned, up on the 61 acres, it's been fantastic. But also, I want to reiterate that we have really done a lot in wards 1, 3, and 5, like Ricky talked about, and Lois talked about, as far as reconstructing and rebuilding the downtown core. With that said, Your Honor, I'll make a motion to approve this report.
Very good. Let's vote on that, please. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Item number 6 is citizens' participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the redevelopment agency. No subject may be acted upon by the redevelopment agency unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If anybody would like to be heard, please come up to the mic. All right, seeing none, then we're going to move on to item number 7. Would any member of the council like to speak on any redevelopment agency matter at this time? All right, seeing none, then how much time do we need, Ms. Bridges? Okay, we're going to adjourn the redevelopment agency meeting, and we're going to start our city council meeting at, let's say, 9:15. That's 5 minutes from now.